What's up, sad boys? How are we doing? A special shout out to all my Nameless Rangers out there. You want to feel old? This thing came out 6 years ago. This thing came out 10 years ago. A decade. You're a 10-year-old little baby. Look at you. If you have ever heard any of my opinions on the emo music, then you would know I believe when it comes to music, there is no greater force of positivity than coming together as a community, sweating and singing together as one body, moving in a crowd to a song that makes your heart swell and your eyes swell as much. And there's no band that I'd rather gush over than modern baseball. So join me, Grayson Todd, as I try to keep it short and straight to the point. We're talking about music, everybody. They appeal to a wide range of individuals that may not understand or necessarily connect to the themes of depression, loss, hopelessness. I think the band has incredible appeal, incredible pull, and the one thing that always drives it is energy. Right off the bat with Couples Therapy, a split 7-inch with another band. Is it Marietta? It's Marietta. Oh my God, everybody give it up for Marietta. The best thing that modern baseball has ever done for me is to introduce me to one of my all-time favorite bands, Marietta. Now, the two songs you could spin on the Mobo side, Hope and It's Cold Out Here. Hope is kind of a whiny song, but I do like the refrain of it. Will I ever be your hope?
I speak soft.
The song itself is definitely not my favorite, and it's a little off-putting at first. It takes a second to kind of build up, but the way the instruments come in, the way that they trot underneath this sense of hope, this need for someone to see you as their hope. Almost obnoxious performance on Bren's part. I like Bren's voice. I like the insecurities that come with it. But one can not deny that sometimes the pitchiness and off-putness is part of the charm. It never comes together more perfectly than on It's Cold Out Here.
Don't call me now, I am in bed. I've sacrificed all chances for street cred.
A song that has gone through a couple of iterations. I know there's a demo version with a different ending, and also sort of famous because it's what Mom Jeans sort of ripped off for their very first song, for their first big song.
Told you I loved you just outside your mom's place. You laughed. I told you I loved you right out on the street, though.
If you're gonna steal, you might as well steal from a band who is making emo music that is unlike any other band at the time. Who are they comparable with? Who did they tour with? Joyce Manor, we got the Menziners, we have the Wonder Years on here, Knuckle Puck, pop punk bands that I enjoy, but I can also admit that every Joyce Manor song is kind of the same. Different shades of Joyce, you know? And I know I fucked up by going over Couples Therapy before I talked about Nameless Ranger, but I'm going in like order of size, I guess. You start with 7-inch, you go to 10-inch, and then eventually we get to these 12-inch boys, and they're like the heavy ones. They're like the main course. Does anyone really give a shit about the Nameless Ranger? Is the Nameless Ranger really the album that a modern baseball fan is holding on to? Best Friend is kind of a cute, quiet opener with a soft piano in it. I like that the vinyl is this peachy cream color. That's fun. Really brings this imagery of a ranger. It kind of has like a Western country-ish guitar strum to it. You can almost picture it like on a banjo in a barn as they're singing over hay bales. Life is short, just like the song, which is 1 minute 40 seconds before we go into My Love. It's a song that feels like it's always lingered on the tip of your tongue. They have an ability to write songs, to write melodies that feel so natural, like they've always been there inside your head, and they finally just kind of gave you words to sing along to it. It's a short fucking EP that they made in 2011. We're past that, baby. Let's go to the future, a year later in the future, to sports. I don't know if you can tell by looking at me. I'm not the most sports-centric individual. Competition, athleticism really don't mean anything to me. They don't really have an impact on me. I don't have a competitive bone in my fucking body. So one would think that a band called Modern Baseball with a debut record entitled Sports wouldn't really grab the emo kids. But that's that crossover I was talking about, you know? You can shift in with the jocks. Hey jocks, you like sports, but we also have a very emo post-punk album cover. Something reminiscent, nostalgic. There's more pictures on the background of people. I'm sure they're friends. Maybe this is Chloe. Is this that bitch Chloe? From second one, this fucking album has me hooked. The sense of purpose, direction, the way that they just craft it and pacing, it's just absolutely perfection. Who doesn't want a goddamn redo sometime?
Start from the top. Maybe like a do.
There's something just so relatable about this feeling of wanting to start over, to change your name, when you feel like you sort of burned every bridge worth burning in the town you grew up in. Sometimes you just gotta escape, start fresh, gain some perspective. The fact that they start this album off with such insight, such introspection, makes you realize just in the opening moments exactly where this band is coming from. They're gonna hit you hard with the music. You're gonna get melodies flying fast and heavy, but they're also gonna make you feel. Try to forget that your bones will dismantle. Or fine, just try to forget that you're gonna die someday. And it's that realization of, hey, I am gonna die someday. Maybe I haven't made the best use of my time. Once again, keeping it brief, keeping it short before we go tears over beers.
When I was just a boy, we'll call it 50.
I like how this song is playful. You have the background vocals, like that girl that's next to me.
What, like right next to me?
Gives you a sense of who these guys are. You feel like you're in that basement with them, but these songs do feel like they're fully crafted. Even though they are a little shorter, they are a little stripped down, it doesn't feel like you're missing parts. It doesn't feel like there's any movements absent from the music. It feels like it's a fully fleshed out song from start to finish. And then we go straight into The Weeknd himself. This may be their biggest song. It may also be their most simplistic song to play on the guitar, and I won't take that away. Can we do a sidebar real quick? Has anyone seen Modern Baseball back in their day, back in their heyday, maybe the Holy Ghost tour? Did anyone see Modern Baseball and like half the show was just spent with them tuning their guitars? I get it, guys. You want to sound good. But at a certain point, I don't give a shit. Just play a song. I'm tired of you staring down at your guitar fret trying to make small talk to the people in the front row. From the second you hear this shit sucks and Bren's voice comes in, speaking mad truths. Though I sing cool, calm, and collective, making my way to hipster with glasses was a little more than just nerve-wracking. There's a sweetness to the lyrics that I appreciate, especially in 2012. At the time, songs about relationships tended to take on a very certain perspective. Jesse Lacey hoping that your plane crashes tonight and you burn in the wreckage or drown at the bottom of the sea. Where Modern Baseball, they can acknowledge the shitty actions that people do around them. They can acknowledge the shitty actions that they do to each other, but it's never coming from a place of anger. It feels like it's always coming from a place of either understanding or juvenile immaturity, unable to form a real relationship. We're just trying to have fun. And I think the fun is the ultimate goal, and The Weeknd is just like the perfect blend of it. It's so fucking catchy. The drum hook is fucking killer in it.
You got a smile that could like this town, and we might need it.
My God, the production on this album. Ian Farmer, mixed by Ralph Nicastro, mastered by Zach Cervini. Good fucking job, guys. Of course, we have the plucky acoustic track at Chloe, who is, she spends a little too much time checking her Twitter or her Instagram. She's complaining that her Instagram stopped working.
Spend my evening talking to Chloe on Twitter, then having you come.
I rather live in this fantasy relationship or this small connection I have over this personal connection. Maybe there's a little bit of guilt of wanting to hear Chloe complain about her Instagram. It's great that even when they strip down the song, it's never as simple as just an acoustic track.
I spent all of Christmas Eve fake angry at you for
Hours outside, a Christmas song. He was fake angry, spoke so fast. I just sat back, relaxed. Don't do your lyrics like this. It's extremely hard to read them when all your lyrics are just smashed together. That song is a good palate cleanser after Chloe, bringing us back to the emotional vulnerability. We go into I Think You're in My Profile Picture once. Profile pictures, big deal to the kids. This is when you start to realize that there is a lot to offer on this album, that they aren't just gonna play straight up pop punk songs. We've gotten a hard-hitting Insecure jam, kind of a slower paced bro anthem. The Weeknd is another anthem, but with more energetic and bombastic chorus. Chloe brings it down in an acoustic sense. Hours Outside in the Snow is a softer song with more of an emotional push in it. And I Think You Were in My Profile Picture Once is a very slow closing to this first half. It's a melancholy, plucky guitar riff that sounds completely different than the acoustics on Chloe. So I appreciate that the texture of each song is specific to the song. And of course, we flip it to the other side. We get Redone, the flip side of Redo.
She said, let's start from the top. Just rid of.
It feels like an expanded version of Redo. It's making callbacks to it while adding a new layer to it. This album is deceptively slow. Kooky has a bounce to it. It's almost a jazzy sort of rhythm to it. It sounds like they're maybe using a brush on the drums. Again, changing the styles, changing the sound, but never drifting too far away from that core. The moments that they choose to complement each other, contrast each other, or the moments that they choose to just let the other one shine, I find really interesting and I find always appropriate.
'Cause God knows I'd rather die than be dying is not a cliche, no sir.
They sound sort of similar, but after a few listens, one will easily be able to the difference between the two vocal styling and also the songwriting that comes with each perspective.
Ah, you reckon you grew up in a town that said reckon all the time.
See Ya Sucker really illustrates why I think this band works so well for me and why they have continued to linger in my memory, in my heart, in my mind, and a band that I will share to every person I ever meet. It reminds me a lot of 90s alternative indie rock. You have Pavement, Cake. We're not gonna follow the same type of production, the same type of instrumentation that you would hear on regular big radio music. Those bands that choose to be genuine to themselves, those bands that invite you in to their hometowns. This is where we grew up. This is where we hung out. Lookout has a similar vibe to Kook or Redo in that it's more bouncy and laid back rather than in your face or trying to pound through the speakers. It's a good little 55 seconds. I don't know if you could want or need more of that song. I like that none of these outstay their welcome. We go straight into play ball.
Compilation of sings and tunes means everything to me now.
It's one of the best absolute cuts on this album. I think when they come in with the full instrumentation, singing lines like, I cut me open, but you did all the pouring out. Lines like those that are so fucking specific to the pain you felt, but it's so universal to all the pain that we go through. That is the modern baseball. It's the relationship game of trying to screw each other over to get to the next relationship, trying to sabotage one another, or maybe you just don't realize what you have in the moment, or possibly you weren't good for each other in the first place. That could also be it. Low-key, best song on this album. Before we finish it off with Coles.
Indoors and sweat-soaked floors, you find it hard to miss your family.
A slower song, a slow moment. It's a slower moment to end the album on, but it is hopeful, so it works. If there's one thing we remember about modern baseball is that there is always hope. And as long as we have each other, as long as we have music, we can play until the fire burns out. Remember when I said this video was gonna be brief? Hey, my download code fell out of my vinyl. I guess I never used it. So if anyone would like a free copy of You're Gonna Miss It All, go to bandcamp.com/yum and type in WDM9CJ9W. If you try it and it doesn't work, then that means someone else got to it first. Huff shit. You're gonna miss it all. How do we even begin with this?
I hate worrying about the future, cause all my current problems are
How do you follow up Sports, an album that sold out consistently on their tours? I feel like I saw them live 3 times, and every single time they did not carry Sports with them. I don't know if that was intentional, like it was a mom jeans type situation where they're trying to sell puppy love, but You're Gonna Miss It All is 29 minutes of some of the best writing that you will be seeing late into the night. Fine Great starts the album off on sort of a similar note to Redo, in the sense that it has a slower opening. It kind of gives you the vibe of the album. It welcomes you in, brings you close. I hate worrying about the future because all of my current problems are based around the past. Another instantly relatable line that fucking just hits you right in your head. I hate when you call me late at night just to check in to make sure I got nothing to be sad about. This self-destructive, self-loathing, kind of narcissistic sadness that just perpetuates in one's mind. If you're also a person that suffers from depression, you can also see and feel that within the music itself. Feels like he has a track record of mistakes, and why would one be hopeful for a future when everything just keeps kind of compiling on itself and just getting worse? Like every day in this country is just like a fucking, just like a goddamn 9/11, you know? I also really appreciate how they're able to craft a chorus, how it's big and brings the music up without going like arena rock, without going just insanely over the top.
home alone on Friday night, no better time for exercise.
I always forget that this song is under 2 minutes. It's incredible how many parts they're able to just shove into as little of time as possible. Broken Cash Machine feels to me like a classic rock song. I've had to sit with it for over 8 years. It has been a part of my life growing up, to the point where modern baseball, when they come on now, it almost feels like a radio replaying the same 3 Guns N' Roses songs. But that's my fault, oversaturating myself with them to the point that they feel like an oversaturated radio band in my head. But I would take this 1:50 song over any radio bullshit pop song. Oh, whoa, why did I do that? Why does everything collapse even when it's glued together? And the fact that they bring it back at the end, using that chorus to bring it back that one last time with fuck you, why did I do that? It's your fault, I can't relax. It just adds a level of anger where it feels like you are just progressively just trying to get through, just trying to fucking get through the day, trying not to say words out loud, wondering if I'm talking too loud. Whew. And before you can come down from that high, we go straight into rock fucking bottom.
Here, are you making out? I can hear you guys on the
Which seems to be a tell about how Bren is annoyed of his friends flirting on the couch. Like he's a third party just sitting there witnessing this relationship. Maybe he's not in a good place himself with his relationship. He's drunk, a little fucked up. He has the spins, but he's saying whatever. To me, blowing off the necessities of life, the bullshit that is thrown at you, that's not what I need in a relationship. To me, nothing makes me feel closer to a person than just brainstorming tattoos, watching Planet Earth, order pizza. I think they eat pizza in it. Yes, pizza confirmed. Is that rock bottom, just hanging out with someone? Well, actually, the rock bottom is probably him being super drunk and kind of desperate for some sort of connection. Then apartment is the first one that brings it down, but not too much. It has kind of a swing tone to it. I like the guitar parts.
I stare out the window, hands glued.
The first time I saw you was in your apartment. I follow my friend single file through the darkness. Jake, I feel, is really good at painting a picture. Bren is better at painting emotions, but Jake is really good at painting a scene and then letting you sort of project or infuse your own emotions into it. For a while, we were playing that game that your friends brought, but everyone cheated and no one could spell. It's not the biggest concern. It's not the greatest problems in the world. It's just like a moment of trying to hang out, trying to connect to people, playing games. No one took it seriously. And it's like, why do we try? Why do we have fun? Why do we connect? So I'll walk home with my eyes low, dreaming of conversations I'll have tomorrow, loose ends, my new friends, all the classes in high school we fell asleep in. Now I can hardly close my eyes. High school doesn't matter. As soon as you graduate, it's like that door closes, and trying to recapture the same sort of group dynamics, the same sort of hangout dynamics that you had in high school, it just doesn't work. You have puberty going on. School starts at 7 in the fucking morning. You're sleepy all the time. I know I could sleep for 12 hours straight. Now I can barely get to bed. And it ends with him trying to find a connection once more. I was wondering if you want to hang out tonight. We could, make dinner or something. Just the different perspective that I think Jake brings when it comes to music. Now, the old gospel choir, this song takes a little while to grow on you, but I like the change up in the drum structure. You have that nice snare drum in the beginning.
There's a tombstone in the brush with my name on the front, but I had
This feels like the first one on this album that would feel at home on The Perfect Cast or Holy Ghost. I like the story that it tells. It has that little bit of pettiness, just a little touch of pettiness, but it also acknowledges who they are and the situations that they're in. There's a tombstone in the brush with your name on the front, but I had no bucks to get here lies. They ran out of luck on the back of it. Why would you put it on the back? Or is it like a little secret thing, like you gotta go around it, a little Easter egg in the video game? Before we get into the third act, that just breaks it all open. Can we act like we never broke each other's hearts? Can we just be cool around each other? Can we be normal around each other? The old gospel shows up a little too much on my random playlist, and I usually enjoy it when it comes on, but it is one of the slower ones. Not as slow as Notes.
dear long dark hair. I write 'cause I know you'll
A ode to his long dark hair. If you're an emo kid, if you're a scene kid, your relationship to your hair is a very personal journey that has gone through many shades, many colors, many lengths. She was my trophy shelf of slip-ups, my untamed hormonal acne shit show. They dated, things were weird, he's cutting his hair now, doing really well after the breakup, really pulling himself together.
pretty good at feeling sorry for myself, making up fake.
Charlie Black brings it back, grabs your attention with that daydreaming while watching the TV, intricate combos by myself to fall asleep. The things you use to distract yourself to fall asleep aren't even doing it for you anymore. You can't even see them. I love the whoa-ohs in this song. I like the chorus. And then when we stop,
Wait a minute, cause I've been living more like a fucking king without you.
that line to me always reads as grinning through the teeth. Like, hey, I've been a king without you. And it's like, no, you haven't. We've heard the rest of the album. We heard the other songs. Jake just cut all his fucking hair off and dyed his sea green. Whoa, tragedy's got my heart a beating. Whoa, rethinking all my days. Another sense of a redo. That moment in time between growing up and leaving high school where you're trying to realize and figure out how things are different, how you're maturing. And then Charlie Black is reflected in Timmy Bowers, which we see them reiterating, changing that line. Well, now we hear the truth. Now we see what they're really saying. Wait a minute, because I've been living more like a piece of shit without you. I've been spending all your past killings trying to drink my way out of this grill. He is down bad. This girl has left him in a rut. And he's not really living like a king. That's like the face that he is showing to her. I think their albums are crafted in a way where you can play them live all the way through. And it gives you a good dynamic of slow, fast, making the show feel like a fully well-rounded set. Now going to bed, now. What do you call someone who calls you out on DIY ethics you don't embody?
An asshole with an iPhone.
Someone who's calling you out on DIY ethics that you don't embody as they're draining their dad's and mommy's monthly data plan. That's not ethical. That's not DIY. I'll admit I'm in the same boat, caught between my adolescent safety net and where the world wants me to be, but I never use that as an excuse to treat my friends the way you treat me. That, to me, is the mission statement. Caught between my adolescent safety net and where the world wants me to be. It's that duality that we've been talking about. A distorted attempt of humor, jagged bleeding tumor in your throat. Oh God. Your Graduation, the song where they said, hey drummer, you can sing on it.
There ain't no other good damn reason why my heart it would go missing.
Like a 4 Year Strong element, that like classic pop punk vocals that just cut through the instrumentation with a sense of energy and heaviness and like maturity that Brent and Jacob don't really have in their voices. They have more of a vulnerability. Called you a crook, called you a bandit. You call the girl a bandit, you're like, hey, you're a little raccoon bullshit. You fucking miss me. Cutting right through to that person that they're trying to get over, that proverbial high school relationship that we're trying to move on past. Your Graduation is definitely the heaviest song they have ever made. Two Good Things comes in, gives you a little bounce, gives you some of that classic almost Nameless Ranger era modern baseball.
Trying hard not to look like I'm trying that hard. Failing miserably.
There's a flow to it and a beat to it where you can almost see or imagine the electronic synth pop version of it. But since it is modern baseball, they're using instrumentations and the ba-ba-bots feel so grounded and tangible. They're not reverb to hell, making this song feel like a personal kind of come down. Bottom of the ninth, can't find my socks. Oh, that's a baseball reference. We're getting baseball references. We're in the ending stretch and you can't even find your socks. My dude, get your shit together. We end the album on Fossils. It ends the album similarly to Sports on a slow acoustic plucky song, just quietly lulling you to sleep. And then when the record starts over, you start back with Fine Great, and it's like a beautiful, perfect pacing. I think this is a perfect follow-up that improves and betters everything off of Sports. One that made me incredibly excited, anticipating the music that they would make next. Which is why one could feel a little disappointment when the next offering was. I mean, look at this cover. It's them. There's the mountains. There they are. I get that they've always had this like Arrested Development kind of theming where they're talking about their childhood, high school, trying to find themselves. This cover isn't appealing to me. This doesn't seem like a cool, fun, modern baseball band. Make this the cover. God damn. Fucking cool dog with sunglasses. It puts the emotion far above any of the energy or fun, making it their most mature sounding album, but not necessarily the most energetic to listen to. It took me several listens, several tries to really understand what was happening. You can see traces, you can see inspiration that would later lead up to what this is, and ultimately the change that would come after that. The very first line, sung by Bren, "Hey you, that's no way out. You can't find help in a bottle or a cut." God damn.
Hey man, what you thinking about? Not to be blunt, but haven't heard from you in
We're getting a little heavier on this album. We're still gonna deal with some residual issues from our formative years. That's also not ignoring the issues that we're dealing with. We are adults now. We have adult issues. These are adult issues. It's a very dour note to start the record on, and one that doesn't really make you excited for what to come. It leaves you bitter. Regardless if this is the sound I want from modern baseball, I still give full credit to them for going this vulnerable. There's this line here that I think is really telling about the expectations that we put on artists when we think we know where we're coming from. That's so typical, Bren. All you've seen about is girls. Take a Sandman, you can find a voice that's not haunted by old flings, trying to get over the traumatic or the problematic past that we have had. Us trying to grow up, mature, and find the connections that we need in this universe.
Downstairs, halfway dead, sucking down coffee from a black old
Alpha Kappa Fall Troy Part 2 2-disc director's cut. Jake's first song on this offering. We get to see how he's matured, how he's changed his lyrics, still painting a picture, the emotional set dressing for the drama that is taking place. Rained out, wrapped right up in our metaphorical overpriced ponchos. It just seems like a little too much superfluous dressing that isn't really necessary to paint the scene. The song title is stupid though. That's the thing. Song title, kind of dumb.
It's not fair. All is wrong.
3 songs in, and there's just like a sense of anger, a sense of bitterness. I wanted the comfort of smiling through it. I wanted to pretend like these issues aren't happening. Being presented with them in such a striking and intense way is a little off-putting at first. It's uncomfortable confronting your demons. But I think the ultimate message is you have to do it. You have to do it, or else this shit is just gonna build up in you till forever. Find me wasting away or whatever. Spend all my time confined to home. Forget what you said, why bother? Isolation, man. Isolation fucking kills us all. And as you get older, it's like our systems and our world is specifically set up to build to isolate you. A song that has a chorus that is reminiscent to older modern baseball songs, but it still retains that more mature, sketchy feeling. I guess this is like the empty, sketchy hollowness of your childhood trying to claim it, but it's fading away. I don't know.
Didn't want your accent.
And if you weren't fucking brought down enough, we have the thrash particle here to make you goddamn cry. He's not gonna watch your ex's band play. Later, you took my hand, you led us to the doorway, but you let go of me when you saw all your friends. The little quiet gesture of letting go of a hand when you see another person is just like, you always notice and it always fucking hurts. You suggested I write a song about the first time we met, but I can't remember where or when. Then the band kicks in and we do it all again. Before we get to the end, you were all I needed, said I loved you to your face, but you laughed and walk away. Heavy fucking shit with the thrash particle. It feels fucking genuine every single second. I've come around on thrash particle, mostly because I think the story it's telling is incredibly touching and relatable. There is one spot of hope, one spot of joy and beyond.
Are you hearing me? Are you embracing facts?
The bass is the only thing giving it a little pickup. That bump, bump, bump. They feel like they needed to inject something into this record. And Beyond is their answer to it. Like the hook, you and me have come such a long way for us to start again. But it's just repeated and repeated until the end, which feels a little stripped down for modern baseball. Just look how the lyrics compare. And Beyond is barely a fucking paragraph. And that's before we end it with the revenge of the Nameless Ranger. The Nameless Ranger was the very first EP that they put out. So it's kind of cute, kind of fun that they can revisit that era.
I'm just not the same. And I'm never gonna
I'm just not the same. Everything you thought this band was, we can't keep making songs like that because we're fundamentally not the same people and we need to grow too. We hope that you come with us and grow with us. This feels like a declaration of like, you may not like this album, you may not like the songs on it. This is what we're producing and we're putting out. Feels like a reflection on everything they've done up to this point and a clear declaration that the band is gonna go in a different place. Overall, I think this EP does redeem itself after multiple listens to, but it is weird to have to force yourself to listen to a Mobo record. But if you're willing to go with it, if you're willing to look for those moments of classic modern baseball, those lines, those lyrics, a little pettiness, if you're willing to go with them in this new direction, then ultimately I think this is a very powerful EP that speaks very true, which leads us directly into
He's been haunting my dreams at night.
Oh, Holy Ghost, the last piece of modern baseball we have ever gotten. My God, the anticipation I felt for this. The anticipation. My God, I don't even know what color it is. Look at this variant. Holy shit. Oh, you can't see it. The middle here is not clear because this is green. Look, it's a green screen. You can't see this, but it is a very cool green splotch on my record. This time, they chose to put the lyrics in the album cover itself. I like how clean it is. I like the typeface font, the New Times Roman. Like a book, like it's story time over here. We start out on a slower note, a personal note, if you will. Seems to be his grandfather, right? Doesn't he say it's his grandfather? Like, I don't think it's religious, but there is a song called Mass. It's a very soft plucked guitar over Jake's most Slaughter Beach Dog-like vocals. There's a little bit of reverb, a little bit of distance put between us and him. We're not upfront and close like we are in Redo or we are in Find Great. Holy Ghost kind of keeps you at a distance that he may be feeling staring up, being in the dark, being trapped in the dark, trying to find a light. And while it may start the album off on a very slow, short, and sweet note, it's quickly picked up in the wedding singer. It seems like the first half is primarily Jake's songs, and then the second half we're gonna get into Bren's songs. So the wedding singer, we do get Jake's flamboyant writing style in a curiously well-kept house built before I was born. There's a sophistication I feel like Jake is trying to get across. Jake is like the thinking man. He like reads theory and he like studies a little. He like comes to you with like science and philosophy and you're like, buddy, I never had these thoughts. It is a very easily played, reproduced guitar part, but it's one that feels very appropriate for the band. One that also feels similar to like Your Graduation, Rock Bottom, like their other songs, their older songs. Note to self, I appreciate, even if it drags the album down a little lower than I feel like they should be 3 songs in, especially with the first one being that slow plucky one, but they do pick it up just enough to not feel totally morose. When he gets the line, I want to make something good, I want to make something better, something that cannot leave the ground unless we lift it up together, still get that sense of companionship, camaraderie between the band members. I want to make something better, but I don't want it to just be better for me. I want it to be better for everyone, for all of us, to pick each other up. It's something that has genuinely stuck with me when it comes to music and music writing. Even when the song itself isn't my favorite, I never go to note to self and put it on. I'm never like, yeah, note to self, that's the one I want to rock right now. Even in the songs from modern baseball that aren't my favorite, I can still find lines, I can still find moments that can absolutely crush me and speak so incredibly true to the person I am.
Pulled over at midday, the Joker's still wet behind the ears.
They've always commented on their music and their fans' expectations with a, hey, Bren, all you've seen about is girls. We're also commenting on their stage personas. Sometimes I wish it was still last summer and you still lived in South Philly and I wasn't playing a show in Nebraska or Austin, Texas, asking the kids what they ate for breakfast. That's what Jake does. He goes, hey, what do you eat for breakfast? Hey, what do you like for breakfast? Funny icebreaker, good banter with the band, and it's really cute that they're able to work it into their album. Mass is the first time on this album where I feel like I am getting modern baseball. Mass is the first time where I'm like, okay, this is something I can connect to. I feel like Mass, with the clever lines and the heavier up-picking, the faster tempo, gives it a little bit of energy. Sad that it's only minute 44. Enjoy that song a whole lot.
You hold my hand. You hold your...
We're sad all over again. Every Day to me has always felt similar to the thrash particle. They have the same like lonely guitar strumming behind it. This song fully comes together for me in the very end. That very last drawn out part where Jake is just straining himself, trying to get through the ending of the song, the pacing of it and how it's revealed always hits me every fucking time. Every Day is all about doing things you don't want to do, but your reward is that you get to wake up. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional reading it. That struggle is real. The struggle is real. Keeping it slow, keeping it moody before we go into Jake's last song, I believe, which is Hiding, and Hiding feels like the very end of You're Gonna Miss It All or Sports.
Take the train to Frankfurt, I won't answer when they call.
It's interesting how Jake sort of framed and paced his half of the record similarly to how they pace their full-length records. I like a lot of the production in this song. I like how they bring in the electronic sounding instruments. It almost sounds like reversed cymbals. It just gives it a texture that you're not used to hearing in modern baseball. But we're not at the end because we have Bren's half, the shorter half of the album. Minute 29, minute 43, 157, 203. Keeping it brief, keeping it quick. What are we singing about, Brett? Now, this is where Holy Ghost really starts to kick it in for me. You have that bouncy guitar riff, you have the harmonizing on the vocals, there's that really good part where Brian comes in with the spit fire, spit blood, spit fast, I'm heated, I'm sure this won't linger longer than it has to. He keeps getting pulled to the side by his friends telling him like, Brent, are you okay? What's going on? You're not how you used to be. You used to be more fun when we come out. You used to laugh more. You used to enjoy yourself. And it's like
that's not what you need.
He is completely aware of the tiptoeing, the sidestepping, the walking on eggshells. When you do have these lingering issues, you tend to be kind of a drag on your friends, and they notice, they definitely notice, and you notice that they notice, and it's like, just want to be that person, you want to be that same person you used to be, you want to go back home, but you can't, because fundamentally, you're just not the same, and you're never gonna be again. Not only does Brent, half of the album, have a huge injection of energy. These songs are a little faster, a little thrashier. It gives you a little harder tempo to really pound you through the minute and 43 seconds with not a moment of that wasted. I really like when the guitars drop out and everything slows down. Why does it take 2,000 miles for me to say I love you? It's this emotional state he's in while he's traveling the country, while he's touring, how he can never be there for the person. Hopeless, I'm fading. It's the same damn thing every night. Planning our future without you, planning the future of the band, the next record, and Bren just wants to fucking go home. Let Bren watch Planet Earth and daydream tattoos. God damn it. What they're doing with his vocals, I absolutely fucking love. He doesn't sound the same as these first albums. Maybe he got vocal training, maybe they're just producing it differently, but he has a different quality to it that just fucking hits me right in my heart. But it doesn't stop there, because we have apple fucking cider.
Did you ever love me?
Apple cider going into What If and then finishing off with just another face might be my favorite 5 minutes on any album. It's the most perfect fucking little bundle of sound that I could ever hope to produce. And it cuts straight to your fucking heart with that beginning line, "Did you ever love me?" It slaps you out of nowhere. There's a good bit of intro, a little bit of buildup, and then that just comes in and just cuts through it. The longing that he feels in Breathing in Stereo is continued into Apple Cider. The themes of wanting to get home, wanting to be with this person, but not being there. And he's being lost within the emotional state of himself. He's trying to recapture what he had. He's trying to hold on to it. Is our connection just in the past? Is our emotional connection gone in the past? Or is it still here in the present? It's not like me to forgive and move on, always looking back on my mistakes and others. It's this emotional tether, this tearing apart when you're on tour, when you're away, when so much of your future is being dictated for you, whether it is a normal job or some bullshit, whatever that you do every day. Even if it's something you love, even if it's the very thing that keeps you sane, having an obligation to it that is out of your control can still make you feel isolated and alone. And then we go into what I think is my absolute favorite modern baseball song, and I will fight anyone on that. I'll fight anyone on that. What I appreciate most about this song is how it just doesn't stop. There's so many parts in it and so many movements, and it all just flows right into one another that you don't catch the song. You don't catch the lyrics until like your third or fourth listen to. When I was younger, I thought of caring as a reason for some to praise me in envy. That me caring, that me trying to be a good person, never too serious, always joking, maybe a little edge, ruthless, ungrateful, always trying to turn up the tracks. Like he's always turning out the music so they don't communicate, so they don't talk. He's not humble, he's ruthless, he's ungrateful. Seeking out the faithful in me with tricks of trust and gluttony, I won't wait for anyone anymore. A declaration. I'm tired of hurting myself. I'm killing myself by like trying to wait for this person to be ready for me or me to be ready for them. I just love that self-awareness. Like, it's not about me this time. Well, okay, there I go lying again. Like, it's always about you. You're a member of the relationship. You're a contributing person in the relationship. You can blame other people. You can distract from yourself, but you're still the person there in the relationship. Maybe the faith is faith in a relationship, seeking out the faithful in me. It feels like they've been trying to overcome this lumping them in with the expectations that they have for themselves. Something that a lot of these bands that blow up on their first couple of albums really struggle with. Do you give people what they expected from you when you were 20, even though you're much older now? Do you break the boundaries of the established relationship with the people around you and let them know that you're not okay, that you need support, which is something that is extremely prevalent in the last shattering, fucking soul-crushing offering that this band has ever put on. The ending note that they leave us on with just another face.
I'm away
waste of time and space, drifting through myself.
Suicidal ideation, something I struggle with, and something that I think fucking everyone struggles with to a certain extent. How honest are you with yourself that you are struggling with that you are having those thoughts, intrusive thoughts, the thought that's just like constantly in your head, wishing to be eliminated, trying to place yourself in the context of the world. And what we need to realize, what we need to understand, there's no one better than us, there's no one worse than us, there's no one going through a struggle that is so unobtainable that we cannot help them. Or we rather close it off and then just confidently go through life spewing, hateful bullshit. It's hard to talk about this song, it's hard to read the lyrics without getting a little emotional, because this feels like the most true diary written into song lyrics that I have ever seen. I'm a waste of time and space, drifting through my selfish ways. I don't know how I got here. Travel light endlessly, distort all reality. Can't say how I got here. There's a lot of themings of space, about intergalactic travel, trying to escape, go somewhere else. I feel like I'm so isolated, I'm light years away. I'm on a different planet, entering a well-known phase. This is what I do. I let it compile. I don't think about it. I don't process my issues like how I should. Well, I scream, get lost. I hate everything. I can't really say how I got here. These emotional states that you find yourself in, that you can't even figure out why you're angry, why you're mad, even when you feel like you don't matter. When you feel like you literally do not exist as a person. A song can come out of nowhere, slap you in the fucking face, and tell you, hey, you're not alone, we're in this together, and we can make something better. If it's all the same, it's time to confront this face to face. I'll be with you the whole way. It'll take time, that's fact. I'm not just another face, I'm not just another name. Themes, emotions that most bands wouldn't even touch. While the pacing of the album, while the songs may not hit me the same every single time, I cannot deny the pure and absolute perfection that is this back half. The absolute just pinnacle of everything I want in music. Hit me hard, hit me fast, give me something to relate to, something that'll tear my heart apart, but something that I can sing along to, feel hopeful about the group, about the emotional connection that we are making in the room. I knew that we wouldn't be able to talk about modern baseball without getting a little heavy, without getting a little emotional. And I hope that my emotional vulnerability is not taken for granted, just like as I hope the emotional vulnerability of modern baseball will never be taken for granted. The influence that they have left and the hole that has been left ever since they stopped playing, one that can't even be filled by Jake himself and Slaughter Beach Dog. Modern baseball is one of my favorite bands and an all-time absolute fucking jam it every single time. If you never heard of them, why the hell did you watch this video? Tell me what your connection is to them. Tell me what your favorite song is. Was I wrong about any of these? I know I said this video was going to be brief, but there is just so much to fucking say. I'm greysontodd. Thank you for watching. Stay posy, stay swezzy, listen to some good shit, and I'll catch you on the flip side.